Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Rippin Lips with Marty Lawson. I'm your host, Marty Lawson. All right, so in earlier videos that I've done, I have said that I want to feature local bait makers and crafters and rod makers and all this type of stuff. Well, I did my first interview with two brothers, Derrick and Daniel from Bent Rod Fishing USA. They make amazing hand-painted baits, and did a pretty extensive interview with them. And I'd love for you to stay tuned, watch this interview, and then at the back end of the video, I show some pictures of the amazing baits that they make. So do me a favor, like, subscribe, drop comments, let me know what you think of this, and if you'd like to see more of this content. So let's get into the interview. So welcome everyone. I want to introduce you to Derrick and Daniel from Bent Rod Fishing USA. Spoke to these guys on the phone and told them I want to promote their baits. I guess you're located where? Up near Winchester, right?
Yes, I live in Winchester. Derrick's in Lake Holiday.
Cross Junction, yeah.
Okay. And it was pretty cool last weekend. You were at that show in was it Berkeley, West Virginia, right?
Yeah, Berkeley Springs. Yeah, it was. That was a good show. It was for their high school fishing team. They were doing their fundraiser for that, so we set up there and we're selling some lures, and Daniel was doing some painting there so people could see it. We did a special lure for the high school where we did their colors and then their mascot logo on the side of it, and that actually was a big hit. We actually sold out. We were hesitant of how many to bring because we're like, if people don't buy them, we're not going to sell them to anyone else, right? So so we brought a few. We brought I think like 6, and ended up selling out of those in like the first 30 minutes. So we took orders for the rest of them.
Very cool.
Fulfilling those this week. So
yeah, it kind of worked out to our benefit because I was doing a live broadcast with Fishing the DMV. And as I was talking to him, I'm like, wait a minute. And I started putting 2 and 2 together, and I'm like, hey, Bent Rod Fishing USA is there. You need to go over there and grab those guys and have them on your show. I said, because I'm doing an interview with them later on in the week. And that's when he came and grabbed you, Derrick, and brought you over. So yeah, that worked out pretty good. So your brothers, and you just decided now, I mean, how did you decide to even get into making your own baits? Was it because you couldn't find what you wanted, or is there some backstory with it?
You want me to do this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Oh wow, how far back do I go? A really good friend of mine invited me out for lunch probably about 1.5 years ago. During that lunch, he asked me if I had ever heard of these people who are like drop shipping on Amazon as like a little side hustle to make extra money. And I told him, no, I didn't. I honestly, and I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it now. At the time, I assumed everything you bought off of Amazon was sold by Amazon. But he was like, no, there's a lot of people like us that just create little side businesses and they sell their stuff on Amazon. So that got me thinking. And I went to Derrick. I said, hey, I don't know what we would do, but would you be interested in kind of getting together and doing something? And, he was like, yeah, keep me posted. So we batted some ideas around, watched a lot of YouTube videos on how to do that. And the one guy that we really gravitated to just kept pushing for it to be a passion project. He was like, you can sell dog houses if you want to and make money. You can make money on anything if you do it right. But if you're really passionate about it, then when it gets slow and when it gets hard, you'll stick to it and you'll get to the end. Whereas if it's something you don't really care about, you probably just go, this didn't work, and you'll walk away from it. So as Derrick and I batted around, because we both have more hobbies than we probably either would like to care to admit. So we were batting around all the ideas. Well, we've been passionate about fishing our whole lives. I mean, those are our favorite memories with our dad. Growing up, we're on Lake Gunnersville in Alabama fishing. Honestly, not even bass, shell crackers, crappie. That was really what we were after. But those are some of our best memories, and we've continued to fish into adulthood. And so at first, we were actually buying lures from China and importing them in directly to Amazon warehouses. We didn't touch them. And this was really just planned to be side hustle. If it works, great. If not, it was a little bit of money. It was fun. But then as we got into it and we started putting a little bit of our, not to sound cheesy, but a little bit of our soul into it, the disconnect of having no hands on it whatsoever started to not feel right. Honestly, felt kind of dirty buying stuff from China and selling it in the US. Like, that didn't feel good. Neither of us really wanted to do that anyway.
Right.
And then as we started to promote it and talk to fishermen, you don't see eyes glass over faster than when a fisherman says, oh, that's really cool. That lure looks great. Where did you get it? And you say China. They're done. Conversation over. Like, they're not interested. So Derrick and I kind of got together and we're like, look, this isn't working, and we don't feel good about it. If we're going to do this, maybe we should do something else. So we just started looking around, and I want to say we ran across Baker Builds. Does that sound right, Derrick? Do you remember that? Yeah. I think it was Baker Builds, his YouTube channel. And he's amazing. I was watching this guy paint baits, and I'm just sitting there with my jaw in my lap going, holy crap, that's how you do that? Like, some of the stuff, the effects that you see on these lures look amazing. And then to find out they took a shower loofah and cut a piece off of it, wrapped it around the bait, painted over it, and pulled it off. And that's how you did it. I'm sitting there going, you've got to be kidding me. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I went on Amazon and bought a compressor and an airbrush and paints and like a little like 20 or 30 pack of lure blanks, and painted my first lure. I texted the picture to Derrick and I said, I just painted this. And if I remember correctly, Derrick's response was something along the lines of like, I think you're lying, but that's legit. Like, he wasn't completely believing me at first. And then I showed him, no, really. And I, kind of broke it down. So he called me. He's like, man, you really, that's the first one you've done? I said, yeah. That thing looks awesome. Like, I would buy that at Dick's Sporting Goods and not even think twice about it. And so I want to say 2 weeks later, Derrick had his, and we started painting and just kind of talking to people, showing people on Facebook. I'll tell you what, the community of bait painters on Facebook is awesome.
Really?
You would think that the people on there would be like super secretive and like that. I mean, at least maybe I just have a negative outlook on mankind these days, but I really thought people would be really secretive, and I'm not going to tell you. Like, no, it is not like that at all. You get on these groups and they're like, this is how I did this, look at this, what do you think of that? So we learned a lot just from watching what other people were doing and kind of plugging it in. And then next thing you know, we're talking about building a website, sinking a lot of money into it, and it just kind of took off from there.
Well, I mean, that's super encouraging to hear that you have that community out there. And that's what I'm trying to build with all different bait makers, share ideas and share knowledge. And then, I got a couple pros that I'm going to bring in and talk to them about what they look for in lures and stuff like that. And then I'm going to be like, well, hey, have you checked out Bent Rod Fishing USA? Because they might be able to make you exactly what you want, And my biggest thing is, now I don't know if you've watched any of my other videos, but one of the big things that I say is, all this stuff sitting back here on my wall, that's great. I mean, yeah, I use it, but that was before I discovered all these guys that are making these baits at home.
Yeah.
And I tell people, if I want a particular color, I can't call Z-Man or Strike King or Gary Yamamoto and say, hey, can you make this? You can't do that. But I can call my buddy down the street that's making soft plastics and say, hey, this is the color I want. Can you do it? And they're like, yeah, I can do it. I've yet to hear anyone say no. So that's fantastic. So you guys got into that. You started doing this. And now, I mean, you both work full-time jobs or you
Actually, I'm doing this full-time.
Really?
I am.
Wow. Very cool.
COVID punched my career in the throat.
Yeah.
And so it was either start from square one and try to learn something new or build something from the ground up. And thankfully I have an absolutely amazing, supportive wife. And she said, I believe in you, do it.
Very good.
So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I do have a full-time job. So, this is a extra time, weekend, night kind of project for me. It is flexible. So I get some time during the week where I can work on it, but more time is put in from Daniel than me right now.
So you both paint.
Yep.
So, okay, do you guys ever turn around and paint the same lure and compare to each other and be like, well, yeah, yours looks better than mine, or I did this and you did that? And I mean, that's
not really.
How do you divide that up?
So we kind of just, a lot of our lures are just kind of, brainstorming. We look at the material we have an idea, and then I'll make one and I'll show Daniel that's awesome, and he'll do the same. He'll come up with something, he'll show me, and great. And then at this point, there's the ones that I paint and there's the ones that he paints.
I got you.
And I, if it's something he's created, I really don't paint them, and if it's something I created, he really doesn't paint what I do. We could, it's just right now we really haven't had to do that. We kind of just have our own lures that we paint, since we're the ones that created them.
So what kind of lures do you paint?
So they're all hard plastic, mostly crankbaits, topwater, all hard plastic baits like that, like square bills, shallow divers, medium, deep divers, poppers, whopper ploppers, lipless cranks. I mean, anything like that. And
okay.
we have blanks that we haven't even started painting yet. Like we have spooks, we've got glide baits, and we really haven't started painting those and putting them on the website. I've painted a couple for myself, just to try it and see how it is. And then, so anything hard plastic like that, even if we don't offer it, there's a good chance we can find the blank. I know you were asking about some flat-sided square bills. Yeah. I did find some, so we could get those and paint those. I think someone else is asking about, a silent lipless. We found those, so we can get those and paint those. So, we're new, right? So we just started about 3 months ago, and what we've got about, I should know, like 8 or 9 different types of blanks right now that we have on our website. Okay. We have probably 4 or 5 more that we've yet to put on our website. So as time goes by, we'll add to that, to what's our standard inventory, but we also want to push that we can do custom. So, not only is it, what color you want, or, you can go to our website, you go to like the shop section, and then there's a custom order page. And when you go to that, you put in all your information, you can put in a description of what you're looking for. You can attach photos. So if it's a lure that you've had before, you can't find it anymore, you can put a picture of the lure on there, and we could replicate that. Or you can even take a picture of whatever bait fish is in your water that you fish, and attach those pictures to it, and we can see the coloration, we can see what they look like, and we can match that. But it can also go beyond that to the blanket itself. Like you were asking about flat-sided square bills. We didn't have any on our website, but I found them. So if you want them, I can get them, and we can do that. There's a little bit more lead time, obviously. If it's a blank that we don't have, we'll have to find it, source it. A little bit longer of lead time for that, but it's definitely doable.
Yeah, actually, the guys from Fishing in DMV, they actually showed some pictures that I thought were pretty unique, because they asked about red hooks. Okay, and I like the red hooks. I like the red treble hooks for the, if there's 2 trebles, I like that front one to have the red on it. And we had a little quick discussion about it, and this is good for you guys, that they said that when a shad or shiner gets ready to die, they bleed out. And that's why you see a lot of these lures and stuff with that red on the bottom. It actually indicates that the fish is dying and makes it easier prey. So, that's something that shad with the red on the bottom just seems to really, stand out more. So, all right. So I take it you both fish and use your own baits?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't get to, it's funny how many times I have conversations with people and I tell them what I do, and they're like, oh, you're so lucky. I bet you get to fish all the time. And I'm like, you know what? I fished a lot more before I started my own business. Right. I had a lot more time to fish before I was, responsible. Well, not just me, Derrick and I, but, having your own business, you're doing it all. right? I mean, I didn't really even think about the fact that when we did this, like one of us was going to have to take care of the marketing and the graphic design, right? We have to come up with the things that we use for our hat logos and like all, I mean, we could go out and spend a bunch of money, but we're both relatively artistic and computer savvy. So we've downloaded Adobe Illustrator and we're like, okay, time to learn this. You know, I mean, just there's been so many things that we've done, and instead of paying somebody else to do, we just take it on ourselves. So I almost never get to fish anymore, but luckily Derrick just bought a boat. So now we're not landlocked anymore. So we're going to be fishing a lot more this summer.
Yeah. You know, you guys are younger than me. You know, I'm going to be 58 here and well, heck, next week. But,
happy birthday.
You know, thanks. But I mean, you know, I just started this YouTube thing and I look at everyone else that's doing it and everyone is so much younger and they're just, you know, I try and follow instructions on on a YouTube video and I'm like, I got to keep pausing it and backing it up so I can figure out what they're doing. You know, so being tech savvy is good. You know, I can read my emails and I can manipulate Excel documents and make PowerPoint presentations and stuff like that. But when it comes to the graphic design and stuff like that, yeah, I had to get help.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm just not versed in it. It's not something, you know, the TikTok and the Twitter and all this stuff. And I'm like, everyone's telling me, oh, you got to get on Twitter now. You know, you got a YouTube page, you got to get on Twitter. I'm like, why? Oh, you know, you get so many more people. And I'm like, okay, so, my thing isn't to get more people. You know, I'm not in this to make money. I have a full-time job. I work in the Pentagon. All right. And I'm just doing this to have fun because I'm meeting tons of great people. And then I'm meeting a lot of people that are novice to fishing. They just want to learn. They want to know where to get things and how to do things. And by providing them other outlets instead of the big box stores and stuff to go and get stuff, it's a higher quality. And I think that's really what I want to do. I'm not concerned about how many followers I have or subscribers or whatever you want to call them. All right.
Yeah.
I just want to do what I do, but I want to promote guys like you. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's my big thing. So now you told me you use your own baits, and okay, I'm going to give Daniel, I'll give you a little bit of an out being that you don't fish as much, but Derrick, here it comes. Out of all your baits, what's your best one? What do you like the best?
So, I mean, you can't pick just one, right? Because it's going to be.
No, I'm going to stick you to one. Because then I get a secret out of you, and then people are going to come and buy them from you.
Well, I mean, so I usually go, if I was to choose one out of the tackle box, it's usually the square bill. You know, that's, you know, I like those. You know, they seem to be tried and true. They're very, very popular. You know, see them everywhere. So, you know, that's usually the first thing I try. But every time you go out, you've got to see, you know, what the fish are biting that day, what colors, you know, is it, you know, top water, is it deep, is it, you know, and, you know, so my favorite one is the one that catches the fish.
Right.
So it's just, you know, assessing the situation and finding out what they're biting. But the first one I usually grab is a square bill.
All right. So I'm going to throw a scenario at you, and I just want to get your feel for it. So let's say we have some 16-year-old kid, he's getting into bass fishing, and he comes to you and says, hey, I got enough money to buy 3 lures from you. And now, without knowing water conditions or where he's at and things like this, granted, I think you guys, well, I know you guys would work with him and say, well, where are you fishing at? And are you fishing from shore? You're fishing from a boat, things like that. But are you willing to work with people, younger people, novice people that come to you and say, hey, you know, I fish from the bank at my local ponds or reservoirs and stuff. I want to try some crankbaits or something. Would you be able to work with them and recommend stuff for them? Or do you want to just kind of back up and say, well, here's my website, you know, go pick from there?
No, we definitely recommend, at a lot of our shows, we did the one this past weekend in Berkeley Springs. We did 3 other shows back to back to back, right before Christmas. So between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we did 3 shows, and it was a lot of that. It was a lot of, because a lot of it was moms buying for their kids or wives buying for their husbands. Yep. And when they're trying to pick, they were like, I don't know, you pick out something. So then it's like, okay, well, we obviously, we'll ask you, where does your husband fish, or where does your son fish? Is it rivers? Is it lakes? Do you know how deep the water is? What type of fish they fish for? And based on those answers, then we can kind of guide them into, okay, you're only fishing, rivers, and you think that it's usually not deeper than 6 feet. Well, we're not gonna get you to go a medium or deep diving, because that's just not going to work for you. Right. So you want top water, shallow diving, that situation. What type of fish are they fishing for? If they're fishing for, oh, my husband loves to fish for crappie. Well, we're not going to sell you a 6-inch long jerk bait to catch crappie with. Right. So it's good asking the questions, figuring that out. And then, as far as color goes, we can give them the rule of thumb as far as, well, if it's cloudy or if it's sunny, if the water's, clear or murky. But oftentimes, we say, look, you're going to need more than one. So just choose the color you like. And, and if it's for your husband or for your son, I mean, they'll be able to use it. Right. So.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's really kind of the answer I was hoping for, because with what I'm trying to establish here and people coming to me asking questions about things, I also, I'm not a pro. I love to fish. Okay. So I also want to kind of build this network of people that I can go to, that if someone asks me a question, then I know different people that I can reach out to. I do the same thing at work. Okay. I need to have a good network where I can direct people to go to people that will talk to them and help them out. Far too many times. And, I had a bazillion hobbies too. I'm old and I've had a zillion hobbies. And a lot of times you get in these communities and someone says, well, hey, this is what I'm looking for. And you just direct them to a website and they stare at a website. They still don't have their questions answered.
Yeah.
So, I want to be able to sit there and say, hey, Derrick and Daniel, they're on Facebook, reach out to them, ask them the questions, and just talk to them. That's the type of community I want to build, because I'm so tired of people just saying, yeah, oh, hey, go to so-and-so's website. No, I want to be able to say, hey, contact Derrick and Daniel. This is their site, but reach out to them and they'll help you out. I need people like that are willing to do that. So
I got in a conversation with a guy on Facebook the other day who basically came onto one of our groups and just really kind of crapped on the whole thing. Was like, I don't know what you guys are, they can't make any money at this. Why anybody would do it's beyond me. And I messaged him because I didn't want to blow him up in the group, right? I messaged him. I said, hey man, that's really not cool. Like, there's a lot of guys out here who are trying to follow their dream. For you to come on here and say that you weren't able to accomplish your dream doesn't mean they can't accomplish theirs. Right? Yep. Take that negativity somewhere else. We don't need to hear it.
Exactly.
I mean, the Wright brothers heard so many times that you can't build anything to fly, and then guess what they did?
There right? you go. I mean, what you guys are doing, I just think is, I watched the whole video of you painting that lure for the high school. I just sat there and just watched the whole thing. And, I've gone to a couple of the shows, the local shows here, and you can walk through and you can see guys that just have a bunch of stuff out there that they picked up at flea markets and yard sales and stuff. And then you see the difference in the displays of guys that paint their own stuff or guys that pour their own plastics. Okay. And you look at that and you go, okay, they're taking pride in what they do. So if they want to be successful, they know they can't just turn their back on people that ask questions. They need to interact with the community and with the people that want to buy stuff from them. You know, there's a big difference between, yeah, here's all my stuff sitting here, pick what you want, or hey, what's, you know, how did you come up with this paint scheme? Because this is really what I've been looking for, or whatever. You know, you've heard of Alex Rudd. Have you ever heard of him? So Alex Rudd, he's phenomenal crankbait fisherman. I mean, that's his favorite thing. He works with monster bass, but he also has his own YouTube channel, Alex Rudd Fishing. You guys need to go check him out, because he just did a thing with monster bass where they just made their own crankbaits for Alex Rudd, and Alex Rudd picked out the paint schemes. This is one of them. And it's called Creamsicle. I mean, he came out with these colors and he's like, because this is what I want and this is what I'm going to throw. So he's really good. I watch him a lot. And yeah, I'm a monster bass guy, because it's going to force me to use stuff that I normally wouldn't use. I'm paying for it. I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
But you know, as I'm moving along through things, you know, I hear some guys that they want a crankbait that imitates a baby crappie. Okay, they're like, yep, that's the color that I want. That's what I want to use. And other folks, you know, red is killing it right now, this time of year. And then you move into the shad colors and the things like that, you know. And then obviously you just, every once in a while, you just throw this weird color out there for some reason, because they ain't biting anything else. And next thing you know, that weird color is your favorite, you know?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It changes it up. It shows the fish something they haven't seen. And, you know, oftentimes that alone can entice the bite.
Yeah. I mean, so the company 6 Cents. Okay. So they make some pretty nice stuff. And I first started buying from them, because I was looking at that like, wow, that stuff is amazing, you know. And then I find out, I start digging a little more, and I got a whole tackle box full of them, right? I start digging a little more and find out, yeah, they're mass producing these things over there in Japan and shipping them over and selling them, you know. And then when I went to the shows and saw very, very comparable paint jobs to what 6 Cents is doing, but it's the guy that lives 15 miles from me. You know, so I ain't buying from 6 Cents anymore. I'm going to go to the guy I'm going to go to guys like you and say, hey, because here's the best thing. I can turn around and grab one of my favorite 6 Cents baits and say, hey, can you guys do this? And you're like, yeah, we can do that. We'll give it our best shot, you know. And next thing you know, you just got another customer, you know. So if I was to call you and give you a description, take pictures, what's the average time you think it would take to get a custom lure?
Right now, I mean, things are just starting to kind of pick up with the weather warming up. So right now it would be very quick. We got a custom order today, actually, from a gentleman that we met at the Berkeley Springs show. He saw our Berkeley Springs lures and came up to me and said, hey, this is my son. He goes to, I don't remember, Fulton something. It wasn't even in the area. He came all the way to Berkeley Springs just to talk to us to see if we could make one for their high school. And he showed me the logo. I said, yeah, absolutely. You know, I kind of explained to him what we do. I said, you know, we can't do that here. I mean, there's a lot involved. Like, I can't just make it and give it to you. It wouldn't be done. We're not clear coating here. You know, we can only go so far at a show. I said, but yeah. And then he started to walk away and he turned around and he goes, wait, you do whopper ploppers? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, can you put them on whopper plopper? I said, yeah, sure. And then this morning the order comes through and he actually ordered 2, one of them for his son's high school. And then he ordered one for himself. He wants patriotic, red, white, and blue with like a waving American flag. So it's, you know, it was nice to see that. And I'll probably have them in the mail to him. What's tomorrow? Friday. They'll be in the mail either, if not Friday, by Saturday.
That's fantastic. You know, I'm an Auburn Tigers fan, so I'm going to reach out to you for one of them. But the other thing, yeah, go ahead. See, I know where you're from.
We grew up in Alabama,
Eagle,
man.
baby.
We're roll tide.
Come
War Eagle,
on.
baby. But listen,
What is a
right?
war eagle? Tell me what a war eagle is, please.
What is a roll
What's a crimson
tide?
tide?
Come
I don't
on.
know what a crimson tide is.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Listen, just a couple more things. Your website has your price list and they can order right from their website.
Yes.
Correct.
And you take all forms of payment.
Yep.
And then you get the order in. And then if you have them on hand, you're going to get them right out the door, or you're going to be painting them as fast as you can and get them done.
Yeah, if it's something that's listed on our website, it'll tell you if it's out of stock. If it's something that is out of stock, then they can do a notification to be notified when it is in stock. And then we'll get that notification. So we'll know, I mean, we don't have much that's out of stock, and stuff that is usually replenished within a few days to a week. So it's not a long wait time there. So anything to order that's in, we usually get it out either same day or next day. Now, if it's a custom order or something that is out of stock, then it may be a few days. As of right now, once we get busier, it might be a week, but for right now, a couple days, and we can get it out.
So, I mean, how many baits do you paint a day, Daniel? Roughly.
Oh, that varies. When we were prepping for the launch of the website, being first time business owners, like not really having any experience in this, and knowing that it probably wasn't going to happen, but we didn't want the website to launch and then immediately be running out of lures and be running around with our hair on fire trying to catch up. So I painted a lot this winter. I mean, I was painting 15, 20 baits a day sometimes, just trying to get the stock. Once we got to where we were, we kind of realized we're running low on blanks, and what if we're wrong and these patterns aren't popular? Now we have a bunch of painted lures that haven't sold, and we don't have a lot of, so we both were kind of like, let's slow down and just see what happens after launch. And it launched, I think it was still January. So I mean, people weren't buying baits. We had like some family members, and friends who wanted to support us buying, but we didn't get an organic sale for a while. But we kind of, I guess we kind of expected that. But nowadays, I'm probably paint between 5 to 10 a day. Normally closer to 5 or 6.
Okay, so there's a place local to me, and I just found out about this. It's called Catfish Kelly's Country Store. Okay, and my buddy that I fish a tournament with, Dak Bates, he pours soft plastic, active duty military, living in base housing, and he pours soft plastics in his garage. All right, so just a guy that wants to do it, right? So all of a sudden, he got a $500 order from Catfish Kelly's. This kid is ecstatic. Yeah. I mean, so if I find out things like that as I build my library and my network, what would happen if someplace like Catfish Kelly's called you and said, hey, can you make me a $500 order and ship it to me so I can put it on my shelves? Do you have packaging yet, or anything like, or are you not that far yet?
We have packaging, but I don't think we have appropriate packaging for retail at this point. Okay. Like it would be easy to just pop one of our boxes open, take the bait, and walk out, and you could do it in 30 seconds, right? Or less than that, actually, probably 10 seconds. So I don't think we have retail ready packaging, but we're still discussing whether or not we're even going to pursue getting in tackle shops. We would like to keep it online and like to keep the custom order part of it to be kind of a central aspect of it.
Right.
But we'll get there. We want to get at least into summer where fishing's in full swing, and let's see how much we have to paint to keep up. And then if if I'm still only painting 5 baits a day and we're keeping up just fine, then we'll probably start looking to put some baits in tackle shops, and we'll start local and then just kind of work ourselves out.
Yeah, because, like for myself here, I live in Spotsylvania County, Fredericksburg area, and we had Gander Mountain, which was just down the road from me. Well, all of a sudden they're getting rid of all their fishing stuff and they're going completely to RV and camping and ATVs. Well, that was the best place for me to go and buy tackle. The next one is Dick's Sporting Goods, and Dick's is Dick's Sporting Goods. You know, they got that little corner, and that's what they got.
Yeah.
And then we have Walmart. You know, now granted, I got 3 Walmarts around me, but you know, I don't have much luck finding what I want.
Yeah.
Or I got to drive the 45 minutes down to Ashland and go to Bass Pro and Green Top. Then I find out about Catfish Kelly's. It's, you know, 10 minutes from me. I didn't even know it was there. So, you know, like if you have a small mom and pop operation, not, you know, not a place that's just full blown tackle, you know, and they're just expanding. You know, it's just a small place, a little hole in the wall that sells fishing tackle, but they're buying all local. MES baits, DAC baits, drag set fishing. All these small people are getting their stuff in the Catfish Kelly's. I think that's freaking great. Yeah. I'm going to go do an interview with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and say, what are you looking for? Can I help you out? You know, or maybe it's just a conversation I have with them and say, hey, I'm doing this networking thing and getting all these different people involved. You know, do you want to really make this primarily a homegrown tackle shop?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's a great idea,
I think that would be outstanding. You know,
really
MES Baits, he actually has tackle down in Green Top. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of Green Top.
Yeah, I've seen it down near Richmond, right?
Yeah, it's it's about a mile from Bass Pro Shop. You know, but I'll tell you, you know, like that Green Top, one of the things that they do, and they did the big tackle, the big tackle show, the bass show down in the Richmond area. Mm-hmm. What I found out is Green Top will turn around and set up areas outside and in between the rows in their store the same time that expo is going on. And they bring in local guys and only charge them like $25 a table to set up in their store. So a lot of these people go into the big show and then they leave there and they go over to Green Top and they buy stuff from all these local guys.
Yeah.
You know, cool. I think that's really cool. But yeah, you know, if you let me, I'm gonna grow your business and I'm gonna grow the network and I'm gonna help you out. And you know, can I order a hat? Can I do, you know, what can I do with you guys to help promote? I mean, my wife has one of them Cricut machines, you know.
Yeah.
She's making my shirts for me now. You know, maybe you guys and me, we do a little trade, some shirts for a hat or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, so one of the other things is you see everyone with those tournament shirts, you know, you got all that stuff on them. I'm going to make one with nothing but local companies.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to wear.
That's awesome.
So like your logo, I need you to send me your logo and, you know, I don't care what form it is, because you get on a converter. I learned that too. I can convert them to whatever image I need, but I'm going to start gathering them up and I'm going to make a tournament shirt out of nothing but local bait makers.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think that's going to be freaking awesome. I'm going to be strutting around in that.
Yeah, I saw your video, Marty. So Daniel, I don't know if you know this. He entered his first tournament, this past weekend?
Weekend before last, yeah.
Weekend before last. First tournament he's been in, finished 4th place.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
I was like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I tell you what, we caught more fish than anybody else did. We actually caught 17 bass. So we had to cull 12.
Yeah.
And I think the next person that caught, you know, many fish was like maybe 7 or 8. I mean, we killed it.
Killed it. Where were you fishing? What body of water?
It was Lake Chesden down south of Richmond.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Okay.
And Yeah, it was tough. We went out, him and I went out President's Day, and it was horrible. It was cold, and the fish had lockjaw. And I mean, we threw everything that we could think of. Nothing worked. But we go down to Chesden, and a buddy of mine, Shane Flint, he has a channel also, Shane Flint Outdoors. He did a video on where to look for spring bass. He had a little whiteboard on his YouTube channel, and he's showing where the bass would be. Well, sure enough, the exact conditions that he was talking about in his video, we experienced at Lake Chesden on tournament day. And I had been looking at a typographic map at Chesden, and I said, this is exactly where we're going to go. Winds are blowing out of the south. We're going to hit that north bank. It's going to be pushing stuff up in there. We had a blast.
Yeah.
I mean, we caught fish and
That's
came
awesome.
into a place. So, you know, I really want to do stuff with you guys. I'm going to continue. I'm going to stay in touch.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep working this process and growing this network. And, you know, you tell me what's too much. If I start leaning on you guys too much, tell me to back off. You know, I got thick skin. You're not going to hurt me, you know. So we'll do whatever we can. And I definitely want to promote you guys. So like, send me your emblem and send me, you know, or your logo. And I'm going to make sure I drop your website all the time, especially with the local groups that I'm in here. I'll drop it to my tournament club and a couple of the other ones that are in the area. There's 3 Lakes. I think it's called 3 Lakes Bass Club. That's out there in Culpeper area. So that's getting closer to you guys. I'm a member of their group. So I got a lot of different people that I think I can kind of get you in sideways, and then you straighten them out and tell them what you can do and start working with them. And I think that's going to benefit everybody.
Yeah, I think the group, the bait makers group, right? So you very rarely find somebody who does everything, right? And
Right.
I mean, you know, that's hard baits, that's soft baits, that's jig heads, that's spinner baits, you know, all that kind of. You very rarely find somebody that does everything. Usually it's one thing.
Expensive.
It may usually it's one thing, maybe 2 things, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, if we get a good group together, where, you know, I just posted the other day, hey, I'm looking to buy some spinner baits. You know, is there a local company that has a website I can go onto and check out some spinner baits? You know, I'll buy from you, as opposed to, you know, going to Dick's or wherever,
Right.
or Amazon. You know, most people
Yeah.
do that now. You know, and yeah, you responded. A few other people responded, gave me some ideas. So, you know, I think that is good too, because, you know, even though, you know, we make hard baits, like that's not all we fish. Like today we went out and, you know, I was using a jig, you know, a stand-up jig with a trailer on it on the bottom, you know, for a while. So, you know, we use other things. We don't always only use our baits, you know. So,
well, I'm the same way, you know.
I kind of do. I kind of only use our baits, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know if it'll last all summer, but yeah, I've only been using what we've done for a while. I'm curious. I mean, you paint them and you look at them, and you're like, oh man, that is sexy. You want to see it dance.
Yeah,
tie it on, make it dance. So
exactly. But there are times that you're not going to get squat on a crankbait.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, I got to show you this. These things, you know, you talk about when you were talking about looking for spinner baits, right? Big Bite Baits, right? They came out with this thing called a kamikaze swim on. And this thing is unreal. So you can rig it like a craw, or you can rig it like this, where you have dual tails running behind a spinnerbait or a chatterbait.
Yeah.
You know, there's people out there that are, I mean, this is a bigger company, but they started somewhere like you guys did, you know.
We've actually just started doing some soft plastics. We've dipped our toe in, I should say, because we do want to offer those on the site. So I mean, literally dipped out. We've got 1 mold, 3 cavity crawl. I think I've got one here. I mean, there's nothing super fancy about them, right? It's just regular old crawfish, but you know, we're cutting our teeth on that. We don't want to put them on the website unless we know they're good. We fished with them, they work. You know, I mean, I know that there's a lot that can go wrong when you're shooting plastic if you don't do it right. So we want to make sure that that we have a good product before we put it out there for sale. So
yeah,
but we do plan on offering those. Probably by summer, we'll probably be going full blast into soft plastics.
Well, what I want to do is, so like my buddy, the guy that's in Dak Baits, he actually got together just the other day with Gray Ghost Lures with the spinner baits. Well, they're going to start collaborating together, and the one guy's going to make the soft plastics as the trailers, and the other guy's making the spinner baits, and then they can turn around and collaborate and sell them together as a package. So that type of stuff is really what I want to see happen. I mean, there's just, like you said, it's kind of a niche oriented group. It's this guy makes crankbaits, this guy does soft baits, this guy does spinner baits and chatter baits and whatever, and I think if you start expanding too much, you're going to lose quality, or you're just going to get overwhelmed, and you're going to sit there and pay your wife to come out and paint lures with you.
Yeah.
Or
in the end, it's handmade. So there's a lot of time that goes into it. And it's easier, like if we're painting a bait, right? If it's like a pattern that we know that's on our website, we don't just do one at a time. Like we'll set up, 5 or 6 at a time, and we'll paint them all, white coat all of them and do the next step on all of them. And then because, I can paint, 5 or 6 lures in about 10 minutes longer than I could if I was just painting one. Right. So it's much more efficient that way. Whereas if you're trying to do hard baits, soft plastics, spinner baits, jigs, you only have so many hours in the day, right?
Right. I mean, it'd be like walking into a tackle shop, which aisle do you go down first, and which is the most important, and that's different with every person that you encounter. So, I get it that you want to dabble into the soft plastics, but I think, and this is just me, I would say I love you guys just for your hard baits, because there's a lot of people out there pouring plastics.
Yeah, there are. The reason why we want to do the soft plastics is we plan on offering like gift boxes / like like those mystery boxes people buy all the time.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about doing that, and we were like, well, it's kind of boring if it's nothing but hard plastics. So we definitely don't plan on it being like a major focus, but we wanted to have something else that was quality and that people could use and catch fish on, but that could kind of fill out that aspect of our company that we haven't even launched yet, because we're still waiting to, you can't just do it on hard plastics alone.
So, I told you I subscribe to Monster Bass, and they're actually doing something a lot different right now. And this is just something to throw out there at you guys. When I first started with them, you get a box and it'd have various baits in it. Well, now they're doing stuff like this month, the month of March, their box was Texas rig. So they sent the hooks, the weights, the bobber stops, and then all the soft plastics, three or four different soft plastics that you could rig Texas. Okay. And then they turn around and they sent this great big thing here, and it tells you all about the Texas rig, how to do it, what knots to use, all of it. And I think that is a smart idea. Because they're doing Texas rig, and then they're going to do drop shot, they're going to do Ned rig, they're going to do Carolina rig. So they're kind of going technique specific as they move. So and I actually had on my YouTube thing that I'm going to do unboxings, and I am not going to do any unboxings. There's far too many of those things going on out there.
There are.
And I don't need to do that. I'm not going to critique some company like that, but if you did something where you do a group buy of like 6 square bill crankbaits or something like that, I think that'd be awesome. Because looking at your stuff, I mean, you got some really nice stuff, and it's you take your time with it and you do it right. It's not mass produced. Like you said, you're going to do 6 of them at once because it makes it easier to paint 6 at one time, because you're using the same color on 6 times, right?
Yeah.
That's still not mass produced, is in the hundreds. You're doing
Oh,
6.
yeah.
That is not
Yeah.
mass produced, you know? So yeah, I think what you guys are doing is fantastic. I am going to commission you to, you know, make me a couple Auburn crankbaits.
Oh man,
Now,
Derrick, you got that one.
the problem is, you know, you're probably going to have to throw in a couple of them damn Crimson Tide ones too, because the entire family is not all Auburn fans.
Yeah.
We actually both made our father Alabama lures for Christmas this year. Both of us. I made mine that almost looked like the Alabama helmet. It was almost all red with a white stripe, and then on the side where the number would have been, we did that water transfer like we did with the Berkeley Springs lure. But what I did was I cut out the Alabama logo, and then I cut out a piece of tape the exact same shape and size, and I stuck it to the lure. I painted the lure, and then I pulled the tape off, and I put the water slide over that so you could see through the lure. When you hold it up to the light, you can see the Alabama logo glowing. Turned out really well. Yeah, it was pretty cool. That's kind of what launched our whole idea with doing the water slides on stuff, was making stuff for our dad for Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, that's a niche you guys could really corner.
Yeah, you know? and that's a thing that we've talked to people at events. You know, we're like, yeah, you know, we've got realistic looking lures and whatever, but on custom, you know, it could be send us a picture of your bait fish. It could be, my daughter just started fishing. She's 8 years old. She wants a pink one that looks like a unicorn with a name on the side of it.
Yeah.
Right. It could be whatever. Right. But you know, she's 8. She's got a lure that she loves, and hopefully it'll get her into fishing more. You know, it could be something like that where, you know, and we also offer them now where we can do them as keychains as well.
I saw that. Yeah.
So for that, you know, if it's something that's not going to be fished, you know, you want to put it on your book bag or put it on your fishing bag, or, you know, your wife wants to put it on our purse or something like that, and obviously your keys, you know, then you can do that as well. And then it could be as creative as you want, you know, all your kids' names on it, or, you know, whatever, all your dogs' names on it, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Hey, listen, it's been great talking to you guys. I really appreciate this. And, you know, send me some pictures, send me a logo, things like that, so I can get it up, and I'm really going to push you guys to get more business and keep it going.
Yeah. One thing I would ask, if you don't have it already, if you could ask, just put our social media stuff out there, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channel. You know, we need to get as many followers as possible. As you know, when you're trying to get into a new business, that is key for us. You know, that and when, you know, getting reviews, the Google reviews is tremendous for us. But, you know, so if you can, you know, have our social media stuff in there, and hopefully we can gain some followers as well.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. And you guys have a YouTube channel?
Yes.
Okay.
I think there's like 3 videos on it.
That's all I got.
It's ready, right? I mean, it's ready, but once we start making real videos, all of them that are on there, I'll probably take off. They're not like official, like, hey, this is our product. It was more like, we got GoPros and we want to use them. Right. They're burning a hole in our pockets. We need to take them out and do something with them. So
yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's a learning experience, that's for sure. You know, playing with this and then editing videos. I never thought I'd be doing that, but
I've got my youngest son doing it, actually. My youngest son is following us around. I've got a little I don't remember where I put it, but a little like a handheld thing so you can keep it more steady. The GoPro mounts in the middle. We've got wireless mics. Like, we're all set. I even got a relatively expensive editing software that I subscribed to, and every time he's here, he's going on to learn a new trick or learn how to make this happen. Or, I mean, he can make, you know, the Doctor Strange where he does the thing in the air, and he can make that happen on a video of ours. We haven't used it yet, but he's going to have fun. He's all about it. He's obsessed with it. So
yeah, I need to find some kid in my neighborhood that wants to help me out.
Exactly,
you know,
right.
You can find those, you know, 14, 15-year-old kids that can just run circles around you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the old man and I'm like, dude, I need help.
I'm really taking this whole family operated thing. My oldest son is going to be the one who does all of our soft plastics. Like, every time I'm doing it right now, because it's dangerous and I have it, like, that stuff gets hot. So, I mean, it's like but I have him, he's right there. I'm like, okay, this is what you do. So we've only done it twice, right? But yeah, I think the next time we do it, I'm going to let him do it and I monitor. And then once he's just going on it and cruising, then that's going to be his thing. He's going to be the guy who does our soft plastics. We've got my youngest who's shooting video and editing videos for us. And then actually the oldest already has an airbrush. He does like models, like Gundam models and stuff that he airbrushes. So once production, or once we're, you know, getting to the point where we're having a hard time keeping up, I'm going to plug him in. I'll teach him how to airbrush some of our patterns, and or at least like base coat as I'm doing stuff, right? So yeah, we're taking the family operated business seriously.
Very good. I think fishing is so unique that we got to get more kids fishing. That's for sure.
Amen to that. And I'm trying to find a partner for my son. He wants to join the Frederick County bass team, and I've put it out on Facebook I don't know how many times, expecting to have a flood of it. One lady said, my son might want to, and then she saw the schedule and said, oh, he's going to be in baseball, he can't, never mind. And I'm still looking. Like, my son wants to join, he can't find a partner. I'm like, what has happened to the world that there are no kids fishing?
I think you guys are fantastic. I appreciate you coming on with me and doing this.
Yeah,
hopefully we got the whole thing recorded. If not, I'm going to be cussing later on.
We'll just set up another one and do it again. This has been fun.
Yeah, you know, whatever we need to do, but I want to get you guys out there, and I really appreciate this. I think what you're doing is great. I really want to key in on the thing that you did with the school. I think that's, so send me a picture of that, definitely.
Yeah, I like your idea of you know, when you catch a fish in your video, of telling what the conditions were and what you used, you know, and having that in your video.
That's my plan. Is if I catch a fish, I'm going to log everything. I'm going to look at, you know, here's my water temp, here's the air temp, here's the sky, you know, this is the type of terrain I'm fishing in, type of, you know, underwater cover or whatever the case may be. I'm going to jot that all down. And when I go home, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to break that fish catch up into segments. Say, okay, this bass was caught, this lure. And I'm not going to go into the line and the freaking pole and the reel. Screw that. It's a freaking fishing pole. All right. You know, I know what it is, but not everyone else wants to know. It's like, this is the lure, water temperature, all those things. This is what I caught them on. Here's me catching a fish, you know? And then when I turn around and I buy lures from you guys, I'm going to sit there and say, hey, today I am fishing with nothing but. And I can go out and then I can show the patterns that I'm catching those fish on and say, this is where you get them. Call Derrick and Daniel. This is where you get them. You know, and that's what I want to do, especially with these local guys. You know, I got, you know, I got my stuff. I got tons of stuff, but I want to start weeding the commercial stuff out and putting local stuff in. And eventually it's going to take some time because I got a lot of stuff. But you know, fishing that tournament, we were using Dak Baits worms, and that's what was catching them. And I have all this stuff hanging up here on the wall, and none of that was catching them. His little friggin' trick worm, grape with red flake, was catching them. I didn't have no KVD, or I didn't have any of that in that grape with red flake. I didn't have it. But lo and behold, he had it, and we came in fourth.
Well, I think when you log your information, what would be great is, you know, you could even break it up to, you know, at the end of spring, you can do a review. These are all the fish I caught this spring. Let's see if there's a trend, you know, and, you know, and then at the end of the year, these are all the, you know, Christmas time, these are all the fish I caught this year. This is what I caught them on, and, you know, see if there's a trend. And then, you know, if you do this for a period of time, it could be year over year. You know, last spring, you know, we really killed it with this, so we're going to start with that and see if that's still the case this year. You know, so that's really cool.
All right, folks. So that was the end of my interview with Derrick and Daniel. Unfortunately, I lost a little bit of the recording towards the end of the video. A couple of great guys. They're doing great things. And take a look at these baits that pictures that they sent me that they've done. Additionally, I've shown them throughout the video, but take a look at these and their information, how to contact them, their website will be attached on the video. So have a great night, folks, or great morning, great day, whatever it is. Have a great one. Tight lines. God bless. Talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, cool, guys. Hey, thank you very much. You have
Thank
a great
you.
evening.
Yeah, you
Thank
too.
you. You too.
All right, thanks. Bye.